I will be honest here. This is not the worst show I have seen, but this is not the best either. This is just in between. And I will also say this, I do think this show got to improve every single season. Right now, as I am recording this first part, I am done watching the first three seasons. I started season four, and so far with season four, I had a blast. And I do think it's a relevant show. It's a good show overall, despite the flaws. But it's not perfect. Let's be honest. It's not. It's gritty. Sometimes it's too cheesy, but it's also funny and it's unique. There's no other show like Gotham. A mediocre start is the best way to describe Gotham first two season. Welcome to this new retrospective. Now, because Gotham only had 5 seasons, I will be doing something special in this retrospective. Part 1 will cover the first season, the second season up to the back half. So basically the first 11 episodes of season 2. Part 2 will cover the back half of season 2 and the entire season 3. And the last part of this retrospective will cover season 4 and season 5. I hope guys and girls will enjoy. As usual, I will be honest. And I will also clip from my podcast with Cole Turner because he's also watching Gotham, and it's actually his first time watching, so he has a very different experience than me because I did watch the show back in the day when it first came out. Gotham season 1. So here we are. I will say this. This show is the show where plot device character are all over the place. This season also has terrible pacing. I was like, did they try to be more cinematic and more like a big movie of 22 hours with their 45-minute episode? Is it what they were trying to do? Well, season 1 could trim down most of the episode to 40 minutes, but they like so much to add more scene and to add more shots with their good looking camera, I guess. It bothered me. Look, a lot of scene happened because they were like, we want to have a runtime of 44 minutes each week, but we don't have the material, so let's fill in the gap. Let's just add more for the sake of adding more. Barbara is one of the worst character the show has this season. With Loeb as well. Loeb is just bad guy, corrupt cop that ate everyone and that trash on everyone. Barbara, based on what I remember, becomes a much better character in later season. In season 1, Barbara is just a plot device. She is not a character of her own until she meets with the villain by the end of the season. By the way, the end of the season is kind of cool. The last few episodes are much better if we forget about Red Hood Gang. I didn't like Red Hood Gang. I think this show likes plot armor on 2000 on pretty much everyone. Fish Mooney should have died when she tried to escape, but they didn't kill her because they wanted her to like create chaos in the season finale, and they wanted her to go on a brawl against Penguin. The characters just don't die in this show. There's many a firefight where nobody can aim properly, and when they hit someone, usually that someone will survive if the plot needs them to survive because they don't know how to aim. Yeah. Now, I'm about to say a lot of the season is filler, but there's a big thing with Penguin where he's playing everyone to become the king of the criminal underworld. That's why it's not that of a filler. Like, I feel like a lot of his storyline could have been in one episode centered around him, but they splashed all around his his appearance. What I mean by there is you get bits of Penguin every week just to make you watch every week. And this bothered me a lot. Because I feel like the whole Maroni and Penguin storyline could have been better if it was handled in a shorter amount of episode. The same goes for Penguin becoming Falcone assistant in some ways. But here again, they want you to get invested in every single episode, and this feels forced. There's also the plot device character. They really want you to care about him for one episode, but his only purpose was to backstab Alfred and get killed by Selena. Hell yeah, this is a good character, right? I didn't care when he died, but they wanted me to care about that character dying when he was a jerk and when it was just a plot device. He didn't feel like a character of his own. He only felt like a plot device. And it's funny because in the other end we got the juicy Zaz. Zaz is the perfect example of a plot device character, but he has so much charisma that I don't give a crap about that. He is entertaining, he is funny. I'm like, that guy, man, that guy is just great. Like, even if he's just a plot device, he is entertaining. That's not the case for Loeb. That's not the case for Barbara. That's not the case for the guy that basically died because of Selena. Another plot device character, the girl, the spy under Falcone watch, if we can call it that way. At some extent, I could enjoy that girl that was basically a spy working for Fish, watching Falcone. She had her own charisma, but she's not the best character, and she doesn't really have a full character arc. She has somewhat, they tried something with her and then they killed her off because she wasn't needed anymore. So that's a bit sad here, but that's normal. There's another plot device character, Kringle. She was the reason why Ed became insane at the end. That character is unlikable, Kringle. She is really unlikable. She's not a good plot device because her only reason to exist is making Ed killing someone. I don't like Kringle. I just don't. Nothing against the actress. It's just not a good character. It's the writing department that is guilty of that. Another character I don't like, Montoya and her teammates. Here again, they are just plot device. They're just there to save Jim when Jim was stuck in a cellmate, when he was in danger, about to get killed by Zaz. They don't serve any other purpose. Like, the actors are well casted, but they are underused. The characters, I don't care. I don't even know their name. Well, I know Montoya because Montoya is also in Batwoman. But regardless, Montoya and her teammate, not that great. I like them investigating. Like the investigation was kind of cool. Their dynamic was cool. But I don't care about these characters. I just don't. Bullock was amazing. The captain depends on the week. Look, season one of Gotham is about war. It's about justice. It's about heroes when nobody believes in them. There's a lot of good stuff in it. Doing what's necessarily necessary. Doing what needs to be done sometimes gets ugly. That's interesting. It's also political a lot. Not in a bad way. The politics in it is how the mafia and the criminal work with each other and against each other. This is the whole politic aspect of it. This first season was interesting because we had Penguin uh, using everyone as his puppets. He was a big puppet master. And Fish, in her own way, she became like used by people and then she started using people. And that was very interesting. The action is entertaining. Even if the plot armor and nobody can aim in this show bother me, the action is fine. The gunplay looks cool, even if nobody can aim, and you need to suspend disbelief in 2000 when they trade fire. Um, it has somewhat of a dark tone, but it's also so funny. There's many scenes that are really funny. This season is also about doing the right thing. And yeah, at the end, my favorite episode this season was the Annabelle or the Hammer. Now, what episode is it? It's episode 21. This is the episode where you realize Barbara is basically becoming a psycho, and the serial killer was really interesting. He had a lot of charisma. And I think that was the only episode this season I gave 10 out of 10. I think. Maybe I gave 9.7, but that was pretty high. Overall, my least favorite episode this season was the Red Hood Gang, episode 17. I think I gave like 5 out of 10, something like that. Overall, this season, I gave 8. But then, I remembered all the things that bothered me. Character that are just plot device. Pacing. These two things really killed this season for me. And it dropped from 8 out of 10 to 6 out of 10. It's just mediocre at best. It's just a bit better than bad, you know? I think when I look back, I'm like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 5th season was actually better than this season of Gotham, which is kind of sad. And that's funny because I look at my tier list right now. Episodes are all over the place. Some are an S, S plus, A plus, B, C, and D. There's everywhere. Like Gotham, I feel like this first season was hit and miss. Either you will like it or you will not like it. And I'm glad if some people enjoyed from start to finish. I'm glad for all of you. That wasn't the case for me. Some episodes were more rough. And yeah, I think that's it for this first season. As usual, let's take a look at the viewership. And I will keep the comment on Rotten Tomato for part 2. Well, actually, we will cover the comment for season 1, and the comment for season 2 will be covered in part 2. So right now, let's take a look to the viewership. I selected the same episode as usual. Premiere, second, episode number 1, pilot. 8.21 million, which is normal for a superhero TV show premiere. And I actually don't know which network. I think it was Fox, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, it dropped 7.45 million with episode number 2. A small drop, which is normal. Let's see if they can hold pretty high numbers for the entire season now. Mid-season finale. So episode 10, Lovecraft. 6.05 million on the mid-season finale, which is kind of good. High numbers, we like that. Episode number 11, Rogues Gallery, with 7.06 million. So they did increase their numbers. So this means people were excited to see what happened next, which is good. This is what we want when we watch a TV show. Oh my, I think this is the first time I see such a big drop in one season. So this means people dropped out, people didn't really like Gotham first season. I cannot really blame them. I do think the first season is the worst. First season was quite mediocre, so let's go over the numbers now. The Anvil or the Hammer, episode 21 with 4.58 million. Episode 22, All Happy Family Are Alike, with 4.93 million. Kind of good numbers, right? I guess, maybe. Considering they started off with 8 million and lost 3 million in one season, it's not that amazing.
Bruce Wayne's parents, get shot and like Catgirl and so whatnot. Yeah, I liked all that stuff and introducing like characters and like the police force. There were some like moments where it felt a little unrealistic, but this is Gotham on the other hand, so I could let that slide. But yeah, the further we went on though, there was a lot of repetitive and just like kind of boring moments throughout the show where and like fucking deja vu moments where I'm just like, I'm not a huge fan of this. Like in the first episode or two, I really enjoyed like the feel and tone of it and all. So I was like, maybe the show might surprise me, despite hearing what I did from people. But more and more it went on, though, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Now, the characters and stuff, they did do a good job with that. Like the one thing I heard about them was, yeah, the story and writing might not be the best too, but the characters and their like costume design and everything is pretty spot on. And yeah, I would have to agree. Although I am curious what your opinion is on this like adaptation of Penguin. He is
Oh,
different from like other ones we've seen in the films and stuff, but a more like
Penguin.
kind of realistic one. But yeah,
He
and a
is
more comic accurate one. But
he is very interesting, and I won't go into any spoiler from season 2 and
yeah,
above because you're still on
yeah, I
season
will
1.
say the last few episodes with Penguin, like I was really like 50-50 on him the whole show, like, but then
But
the last few episodes, I really loved him.
I think I am biased here. I'm not a good point of reference because I know where that character is going. So in season
Hmm.
1, it's always great having him around. I think he was a great character, and he was very entertaining and very funny as
Oh yeah.
well. I do think the writing of the characters throughout the entire show is good. Now, the two biggest issues for me in season 1 are pacing and character turned into plot device. Uh, Barbara Barbara is the worst character in season one. She is really bad. I didn't like her. At the end, they did something with her, and I was glad they turned her villain, and that was actually good. But the first
Yeah.
half, Barbara was just the girlfriend that cheats. She was just a girlfriend that basically sold information like to journalists.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Barb, or just
Yeah.
she didn't really have much of a point in the show or was that interesting. I didn't really even when all that stuff happened with her and villain stuff
Yeah.
like that. I honestly still didn't really care much. She was like the most forgettable character of the whole show for me.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I have another take. I think when the guy that turned Barbara a villain was actually the best part of season one outside of Penguin. I
Hmm.
liked a lot that character. I was like, it's like a recurring villain that had like 2 or 3 episodes and he left that effect on the show, like turning one of the main cast into a villain. And that was very interesting. I liked a lot that part of it. Now, another issue here and there, but that's repetitive for like action sequence with guns. People just don't know how to aim. Or sometimes they do hit their target, but it's never in the head, or it's like in the leg or the
Hmm.
stomach, like nothing deadly, you know? And this is like plot armor in 2000, or when they are against people with super strength and they don't get killed just like that with a snap of a finger. But here again, that's not the only show that has that kind of issues. But the other kind of big issue with the first season is the pacing. I do think you could trim down a lot of the episode, and if you place all of the penguin stuff in like a few episodes, you could cut a lot of filler stuff in a lot of episodes from season one. And this is what bothered me the most with season one, and that was like the thing that stick out in my mind why it's my least favorite season and why it was the weakest, because let's be honest, most of the crime of the week, they are not that great. There's like there are some that are really good and cool and they feel like Gotham, but there are others that are like it could be CSI or NCIS, and they just stop they just don't do the same kind of stuff, but it's similar, you know. Um, that's also why I liked much more later season, because later season it's more serialized. They still have that freak of the week, but not always, not every week, and sometimes the freak of the week lasts for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's more interesting than just, oh, here's the villain of the week. Oh, here's the new one. Here's the new one, and they are all underdeveloped and they don't really grow, and it's sad, you know. Um, that's why first season is the weakest for me. Um, Now the goods, the characters. I think the writing of the characters is good despite bad story surrounding them. They do grow, they do change. Another plot device character, Mentoya. She is so bad. You know who I'm talking about, right? Mentoya. Mentoya. Are you still there, Cole?
Oh god, I didn't realize my mic was mute. God, that whole.
Mentoya.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, yeah, I agree. There are some issues with her,
Mentoya.
and again, also the acting from one of the cast members. I will say I was not a fan of, because I'm not a fan of her as an actress at all. But
Yeah.
you might know which one I'm talking about.
Fish Money?
Yeah,
Oh my, Fish Mooney, man. Since all the Will Smith drama, I think
well,
she,
no, it's just Jade. It's just Jada Pinkett Smith is
yeah,
not a good actress. That's all.
she has become worst. I mean,
Yes, seriously, no. The only performance I have ever liked from her in a single film in history was like that 5-minute cameo in Scream 2. That's it. She's not. She's just isn't a good actress, and this is just another performance that's just not good.
Yeah,
It's just it.
it's,
They like the character is good, but her acting dragged it down. Was just
she
no.
she plays herself because
Yeah.
you get to learn like how awful she is in her marriage, winning and stuff. I cannot dissociate that anymore, especially when the character is an AO and the actress is an AO. Like it's like the same thing with Ezra Miller. Next time I will see Ezra Miller, I will just see the crazy guy that do burglary and stuff like that. I won't see the actor anymore. I just can't. Like sometimes I can with artists when I only hear their voice or when like they are different side of a story, but when the awful just take all the place, I just cannot put that aside anymore. Especially with actors and acting. Uh, I will not see Will Smith anymore the same way, you know? He hit someone, you know? It's. I'm all in, like, to separate artists from the art, but I just cannot do it. Like, do what I say, not what I do. that that's
Hmm.
that's the way it is. But well, Fish Mooney was really bad. Um, like
Yeah. Now the character again. The character I didn't mind at all. I thought it was good. It's just the actress was not. She dragged the character down. Could
yeah,
have been a good character, but needed somebody who's actually good at.
the idea in the story she had was somewhat good, but the acting didn't follow, and it really damaged that part of the show. And
Yeah.
the same thing with the little girl that she basically used to spy on Falcone. I think sometimes she had her moments, but that wasn't that great. And here again, she's just another plot device. That goes back to like some of the character are just plot device, and that bothers me a lot because your character needs some layer and your character needs to be somewhat deep. Otherwise, it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. Now, I'd like to point out another small issue I had with pacing. I feel like the Arkham part where Jim was working at Arkham, they could have extended that little story arc in a bubble for like 2 or 3 episodes if they had good ideas to follow up. Because it felt rushed. Let's be honest, it felt really rushed because he only spent like 1 episode in Arkham and he was already back detective after that. So I feel like Gotham rushed through things because they didn't know what to do in Arkham, and it's a bit sad. Um, and oh, speaking about Arkham, Loeb, Commissioner Loeb. Oh my, plot device character 2000. That one was awful, and I hate him even more with season 2 because he just doesn't change, he doesn't grow. It's so sad. At least he's not there for that long with season 2, but that character is a mistake. So, yeah, anything else on my side? Well, I think yeah, I pretty much speak about pretty much everything. What do you think outside
Yeah.
of
Well, I mean, do you think some of the police like things were realistic? Because there were some stuff that was kind of to me, but and
uh
again, there were like a
here we are. Just like other retrospective, we will only cover the audience score because we all know the critics, they are sellouts. I mean, if it doesn't follow the media narrative, it doesn't follow the agenda most critics have, or their ideas of good agenda driven shows, well, we cannot really uh, take a look to the critics. They they are paid to write off their essay and they're sellout. Let's be honest. So 76% critics. I'm actually surprised it's not higher. because there's a lot of strong female character. Well, actually, I should say there's a lot of strong character that happen to be female. But hey, maybe it's because they are not your typical strong female character that these critics are not all over the show. Anyway, audience 75. So it was well received. The audience liked it more than me, for sure. Number one, too campy for me to take anything seriously. The pacing is also indicative of the downfall of network television in the age of slick streaming TV, where everything is more streamlined and concentrated. I actually agree. Season 1 was filled with filler. It was the weakest season of the show. Now let's go take a look to the other comment there. Good first introductory season to the series, very focused on organized crime that managed to entertain even if with a frightening slowness. As a first season it managed to make you fond of the characters, and it also managed to lay good foundation for their subsequent evolution. I actually agree with that statement there. Easily the best season of the show, Gotham Season 1 is delivered everything it promised. A gritty crime drama filled with awesome fight scene, great takes on classic Batman character, and plenty of Batman reference. I love the adaptation of multiple Batman character like Jim Gordon, Harvey Bullock, Carmine Falcone, and Oswald Cobblepot, who's portrayed by Robin Lord Taylor. Is the best version of the character ever. I actually agree. The aspect of the competing crime mobs is very interesting and is one of the best part of the show. It is quite interesting to see how everyone has ties to the mob. An amazing Batman prequel. Any Batman fan must see this. I actually agree. Even if I have a lot of dislike, even if I know it's not the best show out there, people must see it at least once. Like, be brave. Even if the first season is rough, be brave. Number one, a reasonable way to start the show, and it does have good ideas to build itself, but otherwise just okay since it's not always good with pacing, and some episodes are not any good. I actually agree. Now we have Spanish, I don't understand, I'm sorry. Amazing writing, bring a whole new story to the Batman. The first season of this series is really good. They do try and force Gordon and Bruce Wayne relationship, which you can tell very easily, and it's quite annoying. I disagree with that. I do think it's natural and organic because Alfred is new to the whole parenting aspect of it, and Bruce is like, yeah, Jim Gordon is a good guy, so I disagree with that. This season is, however, the only time in the show that everything makes sense. I guess. I will admit, Gotham is not really realistic or grounded. It's very sci-fi-ish. But I do think a lot of things are also like suspend your disbelief. This is Gotham. It's its own universe, and you need to do that to enjoy the trip. Anyway, it's still 4 stars, which is good. It's better than me. I love how this show made me hate it and immediately fall in love with it. I love how DC show can be odd, low budget, and still amazing and thought-provoking at the same time. After watching the final season of Flash, I was disappointed at how corny and lackluster the final episode were. When I came into watching this, I was very doubtful about the experience that I was going to have. When watching the first episode, I fell in love with the connection the show let us have with young Commissioner Gordon. I think Ben McKenzie did an amazing job as Jim Gordon, and his sidekick Donald Logue is also a great pick as well. As a fan of Batman, I put this show up with high regards. Great binge. Okay, great experience for you. I'm glad for you. I mean, 4 stars and a half for the first season. I can see that guy getting 5 stars every season after that. In Rise of the Villain, aka the first half of season 2 of Gotham, we get to meet future villain and how they happen to become villains. Ed kills someone by accident, and his warped mind is turning him into a villain. He has split personality, which is very interesting. We also get Theo Gallivan, aka future mayor, and someone that holds some kind of grudge toward Bruce and his family. We also get to meet Tabitha, Theo's sister, and she's kind of interesting, I will be honest. She is that supporting villain that has some kind of presence, and her letting Theo down at the end was very interesting, and it felt good to see Tabitha saving Silver, even if Silver was really like a really bitch. Well, she was saved. Bruce as a character is also slowly becoming smarter and realizing people will manipulate him in the future to get what they want. Alfred, as usual, one of the highlights of the show. He is amazing. His scenes with Bruce and the rest of the cast are always great. Bullock, as usual, one of the best part of this show is Bullock. Look, the characters are great. We get to meet Jerome again. And guess what? He is future Joker. Or at least this is what we think. He is also the reason why a lot of people started to go crazy all around Gotham. We also get to meet Selena. And this is interesting because the last time we met Selena in season 1, she was some kind of a villain, but this time around, she was more of a hero because she was on Bruce's side from start to finish. Selena is great. The character is very interesting. You never know if she will be a bad guy or a good guy, or I should say, a good girl or a bad girl, you know? And this is the most interesting thing because in some episodes she will like do her Catwoman stuff and she will basically rob banks or criminal or stuff and she will help out other criminal, but in the other episode she will basically help out people like Bruce. The action was great, fight choreography was great, the character writing, Penguin being the king of Gotham and then falling. That was great. I liked it so much. Wow! That first half is one of the best part of the entire show based on what I remember. Now, the back half of season 3 is somewhat of a blur for me, and season 4 as well. So maybe I'm wrong. Now, as the story arc that lasted 11 episodes, I think it was complete. It was great. The new captain was very likable. Everyone is likable. Lee is likable. This show is good. And I remember the back half destroying everything. Oh my. Now, I will say this as probably the biggest mistake I could see is plot device character again. The mayor, we use as plot device for many things. Who else? Silver. Even if Silver had some kind of redemption arc by the end, or they tried giving her something, she wasn't a great character. Plot convenience, the people at the right time, at the right moment, at the right place. I'm not a fan of that. Overall, I do think this first part, this first half of the Rise of the Villain, is still very good. 9 out of 10 for me. And if we go deeper with this show, this season is about crossing lines. This is about what's right, what's wrong. This is about the law. This is about the cop being better, the cop following the law to make their job. So the last payoff at the end, Jim crossing that line, was interesting because the character of Jim was some kind of cliche in season 1, and making him crossing lines in season 2 made him more interesting. I liked it a lot. But here's the thing, the back half really ruins everything. Um, Maybe making Jim killing Galavan at the end was a bit too far. And here's the why. The body will be found, or I should say, will be found. So this means there will be an investigation about it, and he will be one of the prime suspects. This is a cop show, and there's no getaway card, and this is your main character, and he is also very iconic to the Batman mythos, if we can call it this way. And you know he's meant to be a super cop. You know he's meant to become commissioner by the time Batman is around. So that bothers me a lot, that aspect of him. Even if I like what they did with the character, I don't really like the story in itself. Mainly because we know he cannot stick in jail. He should not be in jail. Even if he did something wrong, even if he is becoming a villain by the end of the 11 episode run, it kind of clashes. It clashes because that's your lead. And we cannot have our lead being in jail for 5 seasons, you know? So I think that was really poorly handled at the end. But here again, the first half is a 9 out of 10, and I do like what they did with Jim. And Jim slowly becomes like Bullock in season 1, because this is what the city does. This is what Gotham does. People are changing. They become villain. This is why it's called Rise of the Villain, because the villain are there. Firefly becomes Firefly. This is very good. This first half of season 2 is very good, but I still don't like the fact that at the end, Jim is the one that crossed the line and that killed Galavan. If Penguin was the one to kill Galavan, that could be better in many ways. Because first of all, his revenge arc will be complete, and he will also realize it didn't make his life better. Maybe he will think it made his life better, because it's Penguin, he's not, he's psycho, so maybe he will actually think he's better, but yeah, I just don't like the fact that Jim is the one that pulled the trigger. It's sad. I mean, The idea is good, but I think the execution is not there because I know what happened next. I remember what happened next. And yeah, what happened next is what went wrong for me with season 2. Anyway, think I've said enough about the first 11 episode. So, we are near the end of this retrospective. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed. Now, let's speak out. Um, Season 1 was mediocre at best. The first half of season 2 was actually amazing. So, I do think the show had a really bad start. I will be honest here. So, that was a really bad start, and I will be honest, uh, it had potential, it wasted into fillers. Too many fillers in the first 2 seasons. Let's be honest here. Too many fillers. Season 3 and 4 slowly take away these fillers, which is great and needed. Hell yeah. With that being said, I'm looking forward to cover season 2, well, the back half, I should say, season 3 in the next part next week. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. We will see each other in future video. Have a great day. Take care.